Are the Hogs a tournament team? Are they better without Boogie Flan? We examine those questions with Coach Z and Ernie on this edition of the Hog Central Podcast.
This is the Hog Central Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to another edition of the Hog Central Podcast. I'm Steve Sullivan, KTV sportscaster. I'm surrounded by royalty here today. New member of the Jefferson County Sports Hall of Fame, Ernie Murray. Congratulations.
I didn't even know.
And the 2023 Arkansas Sportscaster of the Year, Coach Z. Congratulations.
Coach Z is Sportscaster of the Year.
Last year.
Oh,
Last year.
He deserves it every year.
Title will stay with him forever. All right, let's talk about those Hogs. How about that defense? I thought the defense was the key. First half, they looked terrible. They were terrible offensively. They were terrible defensively. It looked like a 1-9 team playing a 3-7 team. But when they played defense, and I want to go back to the Alabama game, when they D'd up in the second half, you know what I thought for the first time this season?
What?
If this team gets the tournament, they could be dangerous.
They could be. You know, when Alabama went up on us 20 in the second half and I was in Bud Walton Arena, my wife looks at me and I said, let's go. She said, no, Arkansas has a run in them. And we stayed the entire basketball game. Defense win championships, and I think in the second half, when we got down 20, we locked down Alabama and played great defense.
Yeah, I listened to Z's post-game reports, and it was all about defense last night.
If it wasn't for defense, it could have been a different outcome. As you said, we were terrible in the first half. I'm not going to go that bad, but we were not very good in the first half, and LSU really wasn't either, but it was 35-34 LSU. We left the shooter wide open right in front of our bench. We're up 2 points. He hits a three-pointer, Victorious Miller. All of a sudden, we go to the halftime down 1, and I kind of think I'm glad that we were down a point at the half instead of being up 1 or 2 points, because I think that kind of being behind, I think our staff got on them pretty hard at half. I don't think our staff tears them up too often.
Yeah.
But I think just by talking to them, from talking to Coach Coleman and to Kenny Payne, and we had Kenny Payne on the post-game radio last night because Coach Cal was not feeling good yesterday. All that we knew during the day, he was not feeling good. He fought through the game, but he headed home. He did not feel good. And I think that halftime they got on them harder. I think they've done that 2 or 3 times this year. You know, you got to pick your spots, Sully. But I think this staff wore them out pretty good last night at half. I think they were very unhappy. And what they were frustrated with wasn't the execution or the fact we were down by 1 or this play or that play. They were just overall not happy with the overall effort. And they wanted them to go harder. They wanted them to be more dialed in. They wanted them to be more fiery out there, more scrappy, more gritty. And that's what you saw in the second half. That was a good defense. LSU, I know they're struggling. They're 1-10 in the league, but Ernie, they only scored 23 points in the second half.
I was going to talk about that, how great our defense was in the second half. I mean, we in the first half looked like we was just walking around, just letting them do whatever they wanted to do. In the second half, it looked like somebody lit a fire up on them, and we started stopping them, and we started getting easy basket. This basketball team, to me, is as good as they want to be. And if it starts on the defensive end, if we play good defense, this team plays well. And then we shoot the ball a little bit better. I love this team. I got a chance to watch them in person. They're long. They're athletic. If they play on the defensive end, they're going to give team fits in the tournament.
I'm ready to say they're a better team without Boogie Flan. Now, wait here. Here's why I say this is I think they may be even a better team if they didn't have DJ Wagner. Here's my reasoning here is they had 2 point guards, and now you're one guy. You're 1 point guard, and you have a different dynamic. It's a different team, though, with Z on the floor for 30 minutes.
Correct.
But when you had 2 point guards and you played 3 guards, most of your shots were dispersed between 3 guys who are not shooting the ball very well.
Correct.
And now you have a different dynamic. And I'd say the same thing if DJ was injured. I think they may be even a better team with just Boogie, but it's hard to function with 2 point guards. Your guys' thoughts?
I agree. Most teams, the SEC really is a guard-oriented team, but what I like is if you got 2 guards, then one of them got to be the point guard. And I think when DJ and Boogie, they was a little conflicted on who should be the point guard. But I really think this basketball team is better. This team is better with 1 point guard and 2 big forwards. I think we play better.
Z?
I don't want to say that because we might have came around with Boogie playing. We might have got to
There's a
where
possibility
we are now.
that.
We don't know that for sure. But you can definitely argue your point. And there's people that I'm friends, people in my family, my nephews, that people have said, hey, we're better with that. But I think we may have gotten a lot better team with Boogie. Boogie can flat out score.
Yeah.
103 assists to 28 turnovers.
But having
That's
2
incredible.
point guards on the floor at the same time.
Yeah. Well, when you look at us now, we move better. We have more cuts to the basket. We set better screens. We might have been doing that with Boogie still, but maybe we wouldn't have been. So it is an argument. We are better right now offensively than we were, scoring better than we were 3 weeks ago, a month ago. And we are definitely better defensively. We're a bigger defensive team. We replaced a 6'2" guard with more size. Now Carter's starting all the time. He started a few games with Boogie as well, but you got to do out there. You have Savannah now starting at 7'2". We're just a bigger team, and we rebound way better than we did. Last night, guys, in the game against LSU, rebounds, turnovers, and fouls. I always like to add those up. We were plus 17.
Wow.
Rebounds, turnovers, and how many fouls we committed, because it was 19 fouls on LSU, 10 on us, which was good. If I was Matt McMahon, I'd have been kind of chomping at the refs a little bit.
I thought, I'm a diehard Razorback, and I'm a referee, but I thought the game was definitely in our favor the way it was officiated. I thought there was a couple times where we run over the guy and the ball is loose, and we get a steal and get a dunk, and I think that changed.
I saw that one time.
Yeah, and I just think the coach – sometimes that's when you walk out on the floor and go crazy for your basketball team. But if you don't do anything, I'm a referee. If you don't say nothing, we just let it mount up.
And I thought, Coach Z would own the Z. There was no one ever going to approach him. But these last
he's
2
taking
games,
over the Z.
Big Z. Hey, that guy's moving so smoothly on the court. He looks, you look at some guys that are kind of awkward. He pops out. He gets sets up underneath. That little pocket pass from Billy Richmond.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, it's Z afterwards saying, I want to prove I was more than a 3-point shooter.
Coach Z, your name is not Zimmerman no more. It's going to be Emmerman. We're going to take the Z out because we got the big Z in fair. You are Emmerman now. Let me tell you something. I went back and I did a little assessment on Big Z. Big Z has some academic or some getting algebra problems. He didn't get algebra at Kentucky till January the 20th, 2024. He only played 16 games for them last year. He came here and he didn't play a lot. He's playing 10 or 12 minutes. Now he's got his mojo going. I want him to play 40 minutes. Anytime a guy shoots 10 or 13 from the field and 4 of 6 from three-point line, I love it. Look at his box score. He fills up every category. That's what makes this basketball team go. He is a nightmare problem on the offensive end for any team in the SEC.
You have to worry about him on both ends. He's the only player on this team you have to worry about on both ends disrupting the game.
Yeah, he has definitely done that. He's been good defensively the whole season, even all the way back to November, December games. He was blocking shots, changing shots, but defensively, offensively, he wasn't shooting it as well. He wasn't doing much inside the paint. Now he's got a little bit of confidence as far as inside. He's even going there. He's throwing that little jump hook over his left shoulder. He's scoring a couple baskets every game now. 2, 3, 4, 5 baskets inside the paint. And you mix that with the three-pointers that he's hitting. He had a right wing 3 in the first half. He hit 2 kind of top of the key area threes in the second half. He goes 3 for 5 from the 3. Ernie said it. He was 10 of 13. He made both of his foul shots. That's 25 points. He needs to rebound more. Now, the one game he had good rebound numbers. He's had a couple double-figure rebounding numbers, but he's got to rebound more than 3, and he's got to start getting some offensive rebounds. He didn't have any in this ball game.
Look at you nitpicking. Him nitpicking up there.
He's a coach. That's what a coach does. They tell you a little bit about what you do good, but then they focus on what you need to improve.
How about Billy Richmond? I know you've liked its activity, but that little pocket pass he made to Big Z late, he's becoming a point guard. I know he's a point guard in high school, and college, in high school and prep and AAU ball, but props to him for embracing the point guard role, and he hasn't turned the ball over.
I like Billy Richmond. The reason I like Billy Richmond, he's a Memphis kid.
Yeah.
He plays hard. In the Alabama game, he played so hard. He cramped up so bad. I had never seen a kid with a cramp in his leg that big. But in 2 minutes, he was back at Coach Cal asking him, can you put me back in? I love kids like that. And what we got to do is continue to get some other kids to play like Billy Richmond. Billy Richmond was a big scorer in high school. He's not scoring big at Arkansas, but he's affecting the game on the defense and the offensive end. Billy Richmond, I love the way this kid plays the game of basketball.
I think he's a big-time player, and I think that's why he was chosen McDonald's All-American. He dominated in high school. He did it with energy. He's not little. He's a big kid. He's super long. He's a tremendous athlete. Now, I'm not saying he's a Michael Qualls athlete, but he is a great – he's a Ja'Cory Williams type athlete.
Great description as a dunker, too, like that. I mean, he's a superior dunker.
And both lefties, left-handers. Yeah. And he is high energy. He plays better defense, really, than Ja'Cory could play good defense. He's a better defensive player, though, right now than Ja'Cory was. He blocks more shots. He contests more shots. And he's just still got to get a shot. He hadn't hit a three yet this year, which he don't have to do that. But as his game evolves, and if he has dreams of the NBA, then he's going to need to be able to shoot the basketball better than what he has so far. But, man, he is so good, Sully. He gives – we interviewed Coach Brad Calipari on the Razorback Daily after the game, and Brad said he called him the spark plug. Yeah. And he said that he is everything for us coming off the bench. He's the guy we rely on more than anything. And they love the versatility. He can play point guard. He can play off the ball. He can work the baseline. He can guard a post man if he has to. He's 6'7". He can guard wings. He can guard a point guard. And he's doing all that in between. He's a huge luxury to have him.
Oh, no doubt.
Hey, DJ Wagner does something that you think would be just average for a point guard. But so many guards don't learn to finish with their other hand. And Wagner can finish with that left hand as well as anyone in college basketball. And that makes him – it's hard to guard a lefty. And that makes him so hard to guard.
I hate to say this. I think he's better with his left hand than he is with his right hand.
He is going to the basket. He is, for sure.
He makes more shots with his left hand than he does with the right.
But talk about that, Z. You don't see many point guards or any guards that finish with that other hand, even in the NBA. You don't see a lot of guys that are that competent with their offhand.
Yeah, he's so good with that left hand. He's got those strong shoulders. I've always thought he's like a running back going through the line of scrimmage when he attacks the basket. He's always getting shoulders around guys. He's physical. He's got a physical, strong presence as he's driving, and he is super quick. He's strong. And when he gets that gap, he can stretch out and score. His dad, I coached against his dad when I was an assistant coach at UAB. His dad was at Memphis, was a great player, DeJuan Wagner. Hard-nosed, physical guard. His dad was a handful. And, of course, his grandfather was probably better than both of them. Milt Wagner on some of the great Louisville teams of all time. A great defender, mid-range game, long, athletic. He's good, and DJ's really a tough kid. I like he was 4 for 8. He makes all his foul shots as well, 10 points, 3 rebounds, and I think he ended up with 7 assists on the game. The Alabama game, he had 9 assists.
I was just going to say that.
That's an average of 8 assists the last 2 games. This was a guy, when he was playing with Boogie, it goes back to what y'all were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, was them two playing together. And there was games when he was playing with Boogie, but he would have 0 assists or 1 assist.
Yeah, LSU was one of those games.
Yes.
That first game. Hey, double-digit minutes for both Adu and Brazil. They didn't blow it away, but blow it out of the building. But I thought they gave effort last night.
Well,
and that's what I think the coaches have been looking for.
Coach Richardson always say, if a guy comes in, you don't want a letdown. You want it to stay where it is, or even better. And I thought Adu and Brazil both played good, and Adu have a big block shot late. They not tearing it up. As you look at their stats, but they played good minutes.
They combined for 9 rebounds, 5 for Adu and 4 for Brazil, and I thought that was a positive last night.
Yeah, 9 rebounds is huge for those 2 guys, and but it's kind of like Z, and I know y'all gonna get on me for saying this, but that was 9 good rebounds by those 2, and we needed it. They were 9 defensive rebounds. Those are great. Now, hey guys, go get us an offensive one. Okay.
Yeah,
Go get
that's
a
what the
stop.
coaches have been saying. If you want to get on the floor, get offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we shot better last night than we've been shooting, Sully, but we're still 52%. So 48% of our shots
Yeah.
came off. Go get some off. Now, we did better than we have in some games, but we still only ended up with 7. We had one guy get more than one offensive rebound, and that was Adu Thero. He had 2. And so Jonas and Trevin, Savannah fly to that glass. Coach is not telling you to watch back. You ain't got to worry about Ernie Murray pushing the ball up on you.
That's right.
Attack the basket and go get a rebound.
I agree with you, Coach. I just think those guys did attack the basket, but we are so athletic. Big Z needs to get a little bit more involved in the rebounding area. If he can just get 8 rebounds, he played quite a bit last night. I don't know if he's played 29 or 30 minutes. I think he played 28 last night. But he's got to get more active. He's scoring. He's doing everything else. The shot that tripped me out with Big Z was when he shot the fall away over in front of our bench.
That was a heat check.
That was funny. Amazing.
Air
Ernie,
ball.
Huh? We had him on the post-game radio, and I asked him that. I said, what about that shot in the corner off the dribble, the fade away? And he said, we don't want to talk about that.
I was like, wait a minute, Big Z. Now you've gone to another behind. He had a little shake and bake with him. I like that kid. And you know what else I like about him? He's really engaged in the game of basketball. He shows a lot of emotion. And I like to see a kid playing and having fun on both ends.
I love the way he moves. He sets screens. He seems to be very fluid. He knows the offense. Okay, something that concerns me about our offense in the first half, especially, they seem to get pushed back and start very deep. Some of these possessions, and we waste 10 seconds just running motion way away from the basket, and it puts you behind. And I think that's when we're good defensively. We're pushing other teams back. And I think that happened a little to us in the first half. We got better in the second half.
Well, I think we came out and we let LSU dictate the tempo in the first half versus us being at home. We dictate the tempo. Yeah. And I think they pushed us around in the first half. And as Coach Z said, somebody went in at halftime and got their behind chewed out, and they came out the second half, and we imposed our will on them.
Yeah, for sure. I think they had a great halftime. And the offense, what you're talking about, Sully, that I think they're really trying to focus on a lot of set plays.
Spacing, yeah.
Constantly working on sets nonstop. And spacing is important to every set play. Sometimes they get a little spread out. He talks to them about that. He's got spots he wants them to get to start the offense. And that's still just a work in progress. It's a team that's scoring better than we did. We were having major scoring issues.
Yeah, we couldn't get to 70.
Couldn't get to 70, and you kind of felt like we talked about this before. I think me and you on Monday night, or actually me and Jack Allen.
Yeah.
The 70 was a number to LSU. If you got to 70, you was probably going to beat them. LSU's had major scoring issues, but now when you go face A&M, and I know we hadn't started talking about that yet, that's another number that's pretty good. A&M in the league is giving up, about 69, and they're scoring only about 72, and they're winning these games close. The game Saturday's going to be close. A&M's not blowing anybody out.
They can't shoot. They just go. They pick up their misses and get to the free throw line, and they don't hit free throws either. They shoot a bunch of them.
Yeah, they're the worst free throw shooting team in the league, but they make up for it by they shoot a lot. A&M does get to the line. That allows them to afford some misses. But in conference games, they're the bottom of the league shooting foul shots.
Wow.
But they're the top of the league offensive rebounding.
Yeah. They're going to it's going to be physical. This is where Adu and Brazil have got to play. I mean, they've got to help you because it's going to be won or lost probably on the boards.
Well, that's a good point. Those two and Big Z will be critical to this win. If we win Saturday, it's 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and all Razorback people are happy because we got to win. Those three guys, at least 2 of those 3 played their tails off.
You know what I would like to see?
And probably Adu Thero is going to have a big game.
Yeah.
He's been a little bit quieter.
I was just going to say, what's going on with Thero?
I don't think there's anything going on. I think that it's a little bit of adjustment for him. He adjusted. He was great with Boogie.
Yeah.
He played very well after Boogie. So none of that mattered to him.
Yeah. Well,
DJ Boogie. But I think what's affected him a little bit, it's a team sport. What's affected him a little bit is Savannah was shooting 4 or 5 balls a game.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Now he's shooting 13 to 15 or 16 times a game. Nelly's shots have gone up dramatically.
Correct.
Since he was shooting 4, 5, 6, 7 a game, and now he's shooting 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 times a game. He's getting more shots. I think between Nelly and Zavon and between Z and Nelly, that's taken a little bit from the Duke hero.
Hey, football fans, the college football playoffs are here, and the Triple Option Podcast is your go-to source. Be sure to join Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram II, and I each week as we march closer to Atlanta and crowning a new college football national champion.
I think what's really happened is teams are keying on him. I noticed when we played Alabama, they put a bigger guy on him. I think they put a guy on him that was 6'10", that was physical.
Yeah.
And they playing him different now because if you let him match up with a guy his size, he gonna win every match. And I think he started pressing a little bit in the Alabama game because he is not getting the touches. And we need him to come back and be a force at A&M. I think if we go to A&M, play real physical basketball, that's a winnable game. But if we let them control the boards and control the game, we're going to be in trouble over
You know they're going to get after Big Z.
Oh,
they're going
yeah.
to try to rattle him because he's a difference maker. He's a guy that can wreck a game, and we've seen that the last 2 games where he's kind of wrecked the game for the opponent, where he scored so many points outside and inside. And what I love about him, he gets easy baskets, just a little dunk, open 3.
Yeah.
I mean,
what about the dunk from behind? He didn't even look last night.
I mean, hey, the man is skilled. Yep. He's a skilled guy, and he gets his points very easily, and he just looks so comfortable out there.
He's comfortable in what he does as a basketball player. He's very
I
good.
did see one time where he wanted to check out. He was asking for help there, and interesting interview during the week with Chuck Martin, and the week before with Chin. They both said that he's starting to do the right things, that he maybe wasn't a gym rat, and he's learned if he wants to play on the next level and make money for his family, that, he's got to put the time in, like Nelly. What did Chin Coleman say about him? He acts like a pro.
Right.
He comes in the morning, does his work, comes back at practice. Well, now they're saying Z, and as a function of working more, he's in better shape. And, he's starting to see, he's always had the talent, but now he's starting to see the results. And I think the results are further motivating him to get back in and do the work. He probably likes being that guy who scores 25 a game.
I think the game that helped Big Z more than anything was when we played his brother at Illinois. And I think his brother just really overshadowed. Nobody was talking about our Big Z. They was talking about his brother at Illinois. And I think Big Z got in the gym after that and started working. I like this kid. He has taken Coach Zimmerman and put him out. He's Coach Emmerman now. So there's no more Coach Z. It's Coach Emmerman. I love Big Z, and you need to tell him that people are changing your name because of him.
Hey, but what do you do to take away? You watch Z play. If you're scouting against him, Z, how do you minimize his factor, the Z factor in the game?
Yeah.
If you're A&M,
well, I think you got to be real physical with him. I think a 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", athletic, stronger, bully guy would have the best. He's probably going to get scored on a few times down low by Big Z, maybe 2 or 3 times. But I think he's the kind of guy that can get out there and contest his shot. There was a time last night, some of these teams, Ernie, excuse me, they're starting to throw guards out there on Z because he's out on the perimeter so much.
Yeah.
And they said they talked about it. Kenny Payne said this on post-game radio. They talked about it. They want Z to read that immediately, go right to the block.
That's exactly correct.
They did that against Jordan Sears. And Sears, who had a great game against us in Baton Rouge, was very important to us, beating him at 2 points last night. They did have 3 assists, 3 rebounds, but he was not good. Sears was shut down by our guards. Sears got switched off onto Z in the first half. Z went right to the block, and he had to foul him. It was his second foul, got him in a little foul trouble in the first half. In the second half, Jordan Sears switches off on him. He is on Z. Z just had to worry about getting the ball around Jordan Sears' quick hands. He got the ball up around him and shot it right in his face at the top of the key and drilled it.
Yeah.
Sears was right there. Now, the other one he made the second half, he's wide open. But that one, Sears was right there. He was in the stance. and he's killing these guards that they're trying to put on him. And then,
Yeah.
a big, slower guy like, Texas tried to guard him, like was Shedrick. He couldn't guard Big Z. He could guard Big Z down low, but he couldn't stay up there with all the ball action, the screens, the flares, all the things Z does to get open from the three. Shedrick couldn't stay with him.
Correct.
And so people are having to figure out who can we best use to try to guard him.
Yeah, and when he's open, boy, his shot looks so good.
Oh, it's great. He squares up, gets the shot. It's perfect. You got to give him credit. He has put in the time in the gym to get to where he is now. You got to give him credit. I think he's a gym rat, and I think the Illinois game.
Maybe now.
The Illinois game exposed him.
Hey, one thing, he's not afraid of the bright lights.
No, he loves it.
In that Alabama game, when he rattled home that three to make it a 3-point game, I know this guy doesn't mind taking the big shot. He likes everybody looking at him, and he embraces the Big Z.
Yeah, and I always say this: big time players make big time shots, and I think not Coach Z, but Big Z is a big time player.
Yeah, he's really evolved into that, and he's we've talked about this on here before, Sully. He'll give hand gestures. He'll throw his hands up. He'll make all kinds of different gestures. When he makes it, he'll do threes. He'll do ice in the veins. He'll look at the coaches on our bench and point at them. He'll point to his teammates. He's always got something going. He's confident and he's having fun out there.
Yeah. Coach Z, do you know what he's saying? Do you know what he's saying a lot of times? Do you understand what he's saying when he's talking?
Oh, yeah, because here he speaks English. I mean, it's broken. It's a little bit broken, but he speaks English, yeah. And I have heard him speak in his native tongue. And I have no idea what he's saying. I have heard him do a little bit of that. He doesn't do it often. There's a couple Croatians that live up here that come by and see him and kind of help him with things. And so you hear them talking in their native tongue, and you've got no idea what they're saying. You just try to read their body language.
Hey, you know what was good to hear? Coach Cal after the Alabama game saying that was as loud as I've ever heard. Best experience from a crowd. Yeah. And, it was good to hear.
Great.
Good to hear him say that about as Arkansas's coach, and he hadn't experienced I think Bud Walton at its best.
I think when he walked out at the 5-minute mark and all those people were there, I think he was fired up. I think Coach Z probably can attest to this. He was so excited to see a crowd that big in Bud Walton Arena. You could just tell the way he was looking around.
Yeah, he really was. He likes to look when he gets out there. He will check. He notices folks. He just as Ernie said, he comes out at first. He walks. He looks serious. He's making the march. All the head coaches have the big ego march out to the bench. It's a big deal. And, it's a big deal. And you look at all of them, Matt McMahon, it don't matter who they are, Rick Barnes, got their march out to the bench. The coach has that. But once he gets kind of settled in, he usually says something to Chris Woolard, who's on his staff, who sits there by us. And but he'll look around. He will always look around. And he has looked at me before in non-conference and looked at me and said, "What's up?" I'm like, "It's sold out."
Yeah.
And it is, but maybe they weren't all there that game.
Yeah. But I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing about this staff. I can't help them win no basketball game, but they really made me feel special as a former player going to the Alabama game and put me almost on Gucci Row. I mean, that was really, really nice for the staff to do that. I wish we could have got a win, but it was just great to feel like you belong to the program again.
Well, that's good to hear. And I tell you, that Alabama game, that run, I just did not know they were capable of doing that. And their defense during that run was spectacular.
Yes.
Even, what really irritates me? The play that beat them was an air ball. An air ball.
Grant Nelson.
And it's so hard to defend an air ball because you're anticipating it's going to hit the rim, but they defended so well.
Wow.
And Grant Nelson makes the catch and puts it in. Yeah. And it just was to get to 3 points, to get it to a one-possession game.
The play that bothers me in that game is Coach Cal calls a timeout, I think with 6 or 7 seconds, draws up a play. Nelly Davis gets the ball. He's wide open. We need a 3-point shot. He passes to Big Z, and they foul, and we go to the line. I think we make 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That was a big, big play to me. The ball gets in, you're supposed to be your best shooter. He's got to shoot that basketball. You got to shoot it.
Yeah, he had the look. I mean, it wasn't the greatest look in the world, but Nelly was hot. He just hit a beautiful three on the right wing in front of Gucci Rowe, and he needed to shoot that one.
He's got to
when
shoot
he had
it.
the opportunity.
You just wanted to have a
Once
shot.
we called
Yes.
the timeout, once we had that timeout, you knew that gave Nate Oates time to sit and talk to his team and tell them, we're up 3 guys. There's 5.5 seconds left. What are we going to do right here? Well, we're going to foul, coach. And so they were able to kind of get their ducks in a row, and they weren't showing that before that timeout.
Yeah, a lot of teams don't foul.
Yeah.
A lot of teams let you shoot that 3. He's one though that we know that he's a guy that's going to foul.
He's going to foul.
Yeah, and that was good to see Arkansas though rally against a team like Alabama because they're a top 3, top 5 team. If you can do that against anyone, that bodes well if you get in the tourney and you're in that position that your defense can spark that kind of run and you can score in bunches. And that Billy Richmond can get down the floor in like 3 dribbles, like the entire coast to coast. That he is a long strider.
I was going to say that. Billy takes, compared to us, we take 4 steps. Billy take 1. Yeah. Because when he got to, I said, he's not going to dunk that ball. And when I know anything, he's airborne. He's dunked the ball and he's going. Yeah. And after Billy does that, he doesn't celebrate. Now, he rolls over the floor a couple of times, but he doesn't celebrate. He hurries back. He sprints back and turns around and gets ready to play defense again.
I think good coaches brainwash their players. And what has Cal said all year? You're fearless. Fearless.
Yep.
And those 2 freshmen right now, I don't fear Carter Knox or Billy Richmond backing down to anyone right now.
Oh, no.
I mean, those 2 kids are playing confident. How good has Carter Knox been playing defense for that many minutes a game? I mean, he's gone from a guy that hardly played to being a guy who's playing 30-plus minutes every game and getting, a lot of times, the other guy's best offensive player.
Yeah. Well, that speaks volume to how talented these freshmen are.
Yeah.
When you can come in the SEC as a true freshman and you guard the opposing team best offensive player, that tells me you're a lockdown defender. I love Carter Knox. I love all of these freshmen. They are big, big, big time. We just need some good things to happen for this basketball team.
So where is Big Z now in terms of the NBA drafts experts? I think his draft stock is increasing, Z.
Oh yeah, and there's not been as many scouts at the games as there were in November and December, but there's been some, and I saw some when we played Alabama.
Yes, I did
that were
too.
in Bud Walton, and but there's always some scouts going to watch the SEC teams because they can also watch on TV. They don't have to necessarily be there.
Yeah.
And his stock has gone up. He's had 7 games in a row now. He's played very well. Starting at Missouri, he did not play. He didn't do anything at LSU. He didn't show up down there. And then after that, we went to Mizzou, and he's been great. And really, you can argue that he's been great every single game. That's a long stretch of being at that level and playing that well, shooting the ball well, making shots, getting more buckets on the inside, and dominating the paint on the inside. Every game we have guards drive in there. Last night, Cam had 27 on us, Ernie, in Baton Rouge. Cam Carter did not have a good game last night.
No,
he drives in there, and he gets walled up. There's Big Z. Big Z ain't doing anything. He's just standing there. And Cam Carter has to start pivoting and figuring out where he can pass. He's looking everywhere in the arena but the basket. Jordan Sears drives in there. Here comes Big Z to help. He's just got to pivot. He's looking for everywhere to pass the ball except for shooting the ball. And he's having that kind of impact. That's huge. And that's the kind of same impact Trevin and Jonas can have. And most of the time, we're going to have 2 of those guys out there anyway.
Yes.
Hey, 7 games left. I think 4-3, and you're in pretty good shape heading to the SEC tournament. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I hope we win 5. I think we can win 5 of those games. 5-2, I think that puts us in the tournament without any wins at the SEC tournament.
Yeah, we say it all the time. We're very lucky to be in this league.
That's right.
It's not very often, that you're 3-7. Now we're 4-7. That you're like considered almost in by everybody, or you're 1 spot out.
Yeah,
that's incredible to have that losing of a record in the league. But the league has been so strong and so well thought of, and now you got 4 wins. We don't need to lose any more at home. We've already lost enough, 4 of them. Now go steal some on the road. And South Carolina's game, we really did win that one.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt on the road, we can win that game. Won't be easy.
We could win Saturday.
9 o'clock at night, and then you got the game against A&M and Auburn. Those are the two
man.
toughest road games left. That's the two toughest games we have left.
Wow.
At A&M and at Auburn. None of the other games are as tough as those.
You don't think Mississippi State they coming to Fayetteville, so that'll be.
They come to Fayetteville, and they're
Right.
kind of on a trajectory of kind of straight down right
Okay.
now. They did win at Georgia that kind of saved them. They've lost their last 3 home games.
Wow.
Mississippi State. They've had a tough schedule. Chris Jans is a really good coach. But, his teams are tough on defense. They're gritty. They're hard-nosed. They beat you in the 50s or 60s. He decided in the offseason to make this big change. They play faster. They're funner to watch. They launch more threes. Now their games in their 70s or 80s, but their defense ain't near as good.
Right.
And they've been getting beat. Everyone's been going to Starkville and winning. So we got them at home. That's the last game of the regular season. That's a game we should win.
Texas A&M is a game I think out there that's a team that has a good conference record. I think they're 8-3, but they've had some games where they haven't scored. I mean, they've been down up 20 and lose the lead, down 20 and come back. I mean, this is give Buzz Williams credit for winning the games, but that's a winnable game at College Station.
Yeah. I watched them play Georgia, and Georgia was up, I think, 9 at half, and I'm like, Georgia, you got a chance to, close the door, but Georgia just never would put them away, and then Texas A&M go on one of those, what I call just an offensive rebounding run. Gets back in the basketball game.
They play bully ball.
Bully ball. I was just going to say that. They impose their will on you.
Well, Z, you said the one thing that surprised you about this team is they've gotten a little tougher as the season's gone on, and their toughness is going to be tested on Saturday.
Yeah, because A&M's, it's going to be sleepy. That place is going to be about half full at 11 a.m. on Saturday. It'll be 3/4 full about 20 minutes after tip, so you need to have a good start. Build you a good lead while those folks are still getting out of bed and trying to get and because the game is at 11. I was telling you, they ain't gonna be full, but they've got a good basketball team. They got a good coach. They do things tough. They're gritty. They play slower basketball. They want to play physical. They want to beat you up. Their point guard is darn good. Wade Taylor IV. He's 37
He's been there
years old.
9 years.
When's he graduating?
He's been there 9 years. He ought to be good. He should be good.
And he's good. He is a good player, but he likes a slower game. He likes it more methodical. He wants to control the dribble, control the screen action, and they just kind of beat you and grind it out. I like Zurich Phelps. He's been a good addition for them. He's a good player. And some of our fans, you'll recognize some of the same guys they've had for 3 or 4 years now, like Anderson Garcia, the guy that really can only dunk, but he's a great defensive player, and he's a pretty good passer. You'll see Garcia. You'll see Henry Coleman. He's still there, been around a long time.
Yeah,
they're running buddies with Wade Taylor. You'll see Solomon Washington. He's an athletic.
Wow, they retained a lot of folks. Hey, quickly, we're down to a minute 30. Thoughts and prayers with Oliver Miller, the former Razorback star, is going through a health crisis, and we hope he's going to be healthy enough to get to the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame banquet, and not doing well. And Oliver's become a very vocal supporter of the Razorbacks and one of the most loved players, I think, that ever played at the University of Arkansas, and just going through a really tough time.
I got 10 seconds to say this. When one of your teammates are down, you are down. And, we are one big Razorback family, and we just need people to pray for Oliver Miller. The news is not good, but I just believe in that it's all going to work in his favor, and it's just sad day for us.
Yeah. Ernie and I are fortunate to be, we were there in 1990, and we have a 1990 group text, got some of the coaches, all the players on it, Sully, and when we've known about Big O not being, he had it a while back, and then it's back with him really bad. As Ernie said, it's not good at all. And when we were kind of getting that news a week or 10 days ago, more specifics about it from Todd and all that, it touched me, all the responses from his teammates, and they were all very emotional. They were very, very emotional, even in writing and text messages. It really just tore them up.
Well, we ran out of time there. We didn't mean to cut off Coach Z, but thanks for tuning in to our Hogs Central Basketball Podcast.
Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hogs Central Podcast. New episodes drop weekly on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.